I cried at my 3-year-old's Muffins with Moms event this morning. And it's probably not for the reason you would expect. Now, most moms are crying because they're thinking about how lovely their little child is, or how loved they are, or they're overwhelmed by the special moment. Definitely was not the reason for my tears this morning. Now, some may call it pregnancy hormones, which I'm sure had something to do with it because I'm typically not a crier. But either way, there are some important lessons from my experience this morning that I want to share with you. It should be a special event. If there are any tears, they should be tears of joy. But I had tears of sadness this morning at my 3-year-old's Mother's Day Out program. They did a special Muffins with Moms morning that I look forward to every single year. This event is special for me, especially because I, being the working provider in our home, really rely on my husband to do the drop-off for Parents' Day Out. So he's the one who takes the kids to school, interacts with the parents, picks them up. I really don't have a ton of involvement with what's going on at my kids' Parents' Day Out or their homeschool tutorials. So a morning like this, when I get to go and spend 30 minutes with my son in his environment, I get to interact with his fellow students, the parents, the moms of those fellow students, as well as just give him 30 minutes of undivided attention. That's a special day for me. I really look forward to that time. I block the time out on my calendar so that I know I can be there. I want him to feel special in that moment because as a good kid with multiple siblings, it's not often that he's getting that one-on-one attention in his environment, especially with me, Mom. Now, unfortunately, life was really working against me this morning. I was already running a bit late when I realized as we were about to walk out the door that he didn't have shoes on. Yeah, big mistake. So I do the thing that we do as parents and I start hunting all over the house for shoes. Surely they're in the shoe bucket in the laundry room. Nope, no shoes there. Surely they're upstairs in the closet in the bedroom. Maybe he took them off next to the bathtub. So I'm looking all over for shoes. Any one of his 3 pairs of shoes will do at this point. No shoes after all the searching. So I finally resort to calling my husband and telling him that I cannot find shoes for our 3-year-old. His words, "Oh, I think I saw a pair outside, maybe by the trampoline." My goodness. So I go into the backyard, look all over the yard and find a pair of shoes strewn about in the yard, run inside, get his shoes on. We hurry to the car, pull out of the neighborhood only to hit a huge line of traffic. Now, I don't usually do drop-offs, so this could be normal, but I'm guessing that it was way abnormal to have this kind of standstill traffic on this road. We live in a pretty small town. There's usually a bit of traffic during school times and drop off and all of that, but still, this was a little much. So me being the person that I am, not liking to sit in traffic, I decided to take the back roads and go around, which we do, but it just doesn't save us enough time. By the time we get to a school, there are 5 minutes left in this 30-minute Muffins with Mom event. I feel so bummed. Like I've missed this special time with my son. I've missed this time to connect, but we're going in and we're smiling and we're excited because whatever time we're going to get of this event, we're going to get. And honestly, working from home, I don't get a ton of time to connect with other moms during the week. So I was just looking forward to some conversation with people who were adults in my community, right? So we get there, we go to the food table, and my son and I are both gluten-free. The school obviously knows my son is gluten-free. It's a really small school. He's been going there his entire life. They know he's gluten-free. And there's no gluten-free muffin options. So he's upset. I'm upset for him because he's been looking forward to a muffin. Then we go to sit down at the tables, one of the tables for his particular class, and there's no seats. So we get put at this overflow table basically by ourselves, which means no muffins with this mom, no conversations for me with other moms, no getting to know the other students in his class, a couple of which I know, but most of them I don't, and really just a bummer of a morning. So I'm doing my best to just embrace the moment, got a little bit of fruit for him. I'm telling him, we'll figure it out. It's fine, buddy. I know, You're bummed. I'm bummed. It's okay. When the speaker gets on stage, who isn't really a speaker, it's really just the director of this Parents Day Out program, which, by the way, can I just say, I love this program. Our 9-year-old went there. He was the first graduating class. We are so grateful for this program. They do so much right. Okay, so I don't want you to feel like I'm like, oh my gosh, they're terrible. They do amazing things, but this is just how it played out for us this morning. And so the speaker gets up there and is talking about all of the things we're thankful for, how awesome our moms are. And she holds up a grocery bag and is like, look at what our moms do for us. And the kids are like, groceries. It's just like, yeah, mom's grocery shop for us. And then she holds up a sock and what's this? And they're like, a sock. Yes, moms are so good at like thinking about us and making sure to do our laundry. And I'm just getting more upset because as the working parent in the house with an amazing stay-at-home homeschool dad that my husband is, I don't do those things. I don't do the grocery shopping. In fact, like I don't do the laundry either. And my husband doesn't even really do the laundry. We hire somebody to do our laundry. And so it just felt honestly a little bit archaic to, in 2024, be referencing motherhood simply as homemaker type activities. And my son is sitting in my lap and he's like, Daddy does that. Daddy does that. Mommy doesn't do that. My goodness. So me being on the verge of tears after the muffin thing and being late already and then having to sit by ourselves and really not having anybody like say hi to me, which is always kind of a thing for me. I always feel a little bit out of place because I am, the entrepreneurial mom and I don't come to all the things and all the stuff. I do always feel a little bit out of place. So it's even harder when I feel like nobody even says hi and like recognizes that I'm there. So they were like, you can dismiss and you can take your kids to class. And I'm like, yeah, no, I will not be taking my child to class. So I look at my son as tears are about to roll down my face and I'm like, we, buddy, are playing hooky. I am taking you down the road, just a short drive down the road, by the way, to get the most amazing gluten-free muffins at our favorite place. Oh my chives. Let's go. So we went, we got a blueberry muffin, a chocolate chip banana muffin. We enjoyed every bit of those muffins. We sat and hung out for a good 45 minutes before I took him home to his dad and said, hey dad, can you please take him to school? Because I've been crying in the car. I've been upset all morning and I really don't want to walk into that school right now. So my husband took him to school. Why am I telling you this? So as I was sitting there with my son and I was thinking about the experience that morning, and oftentimes when I get emotionally overwhelmed, I really try to process through what are the thoughts that are leading me to feel this way. And, is this righteous anger, non-righteous anger? Should I feel this way or should I not? And obviously there's a whole lot of other factors that play, not to mention those pregnancy hormones that left me so upset. But at the same time, what I realized is that I felt unseen. I felt unseen by the other moms that were there. No fault of their own, really. I was the one who showed up super late. But I felt like my son was unseen by the staff there with his gluten-free muffin needs. So as we sat together chatting, I thought through this and I couldn't help but think about how simple gestures, like the simple gesture of accommodating somebody's food allergy at an event, can make someone feel special and seen, whether it's a child or an adult. I thought about how making sure that there's room at the table for everyone creates a drastically different experience for those that are attending our event. Doesn't matter if you're 3 or 63 or 38. And I realized that sometimes our messaging is unintentionally exclusionary to a subset of our community who already often feels overlooked and ignored, and how much it means to them when they feel called out and recognized. Some might say it's arrogant or selfish of me to think that they should be accommodating my son's dietary needs. I thought the same, gosh, well, they work so hard. They, try to make such a great event. They shouldn't have to worry about having gluten-free muffins. Although I will say in the back of my mind, I'm like, all you gotta do is add it to your click list. Just add it to the grocery list and have it delivered to your house from Amazon, Whole Foods, wherever, Around here in Nashville, we have plenty of gluten-free muffin options, hence me going right down the street to get a gluten-free muffin. I digress, though. Should they accommodate? No, they don't have to. We never have to make accommodations for anyone. And honestly, I'm usually the one showing up to friends' houses and events, bringing my own food to the gathering, because I know that it's not easy for them to plan for everyone. And I have a lot of dietary restrictions, and I have 2 kiddos that have dietary restrictions as well. So honestly, I'm used to bringing my own food. But I can promise you this. When I show up somewhere and someone has gone out of their way to accommodate my needs, to make sure that there's something there that my kids and I can enjoy, I feel so loved. When we do these things, when we accommodate special needs, when we make sure there's room for everyone at the table, when we recognize those that are often overlooked, they feel special, they feel seen, they feel recognized, they feel loved. Each and every person in your community has a deep desire to feel all 4 of those things. You have a deep desire to feel all 4 of those things. And with a really great member journey and a really strong community strategy, we can often help people feel those things. We can help them feel special, seen, recognized, and loved for the majority. It's easier to do this for the majority, for the top of the bell curve, if you will. But what about the outliers? How can you be the person, the community that goes above and beyond to accommodate and recognize the individual and not just the group? Now, don't get me wrong. I know this is an advanced strategy. Some of you don't have a member journey at all in place. You have 0 retention and community strategy. And if so, let's start with the basics, take the Cultivate course or join my Retain program, get your foundations in place. But for those of you that have those foundations, I say this all the time. We automate and we create systems to create space for the human to human connection that is going to set us apart from every other community on the internet. Everybody's trying to automate and systemize. Everybody's trying to speak to the average. Look at our school system, right? That's exactly what they do. But what really makes a difference is when we recognize the outliers and when we identify and care about people's individual needs and then do our best to accommodate them. Maybe it's something as simple as making sure that you have transcripts or closed captions on all your videos. I get some flack sometimes because in my Instagram stories, I'm always adding the complete closed caption in my reels. But my sister's best friend growing up was deaf, and I think about her a lot, honestly, when I'm thinking about accommodating people in my audience and my community. And so I know that there are people who are hard of hearing that really benefit, or even just some people who are neurodivergent, they benefit from having the words right there on the screen. Maybe it's adding an ADA compliance plugin to your website. There's these really cool plugins that you can add that give some other options for those that need it, like taking color and making it black and white or grayscale, or giving them a magnifying glass to be able to zoom in really quickly on your website, or to make it to where, it can be read. There's just some different things that can accommodate people who have different needs. Maybe it's something as simple as including a checklist to break something down for people who maybe have a harder time processing, or giving them a simple recap PDF for people who are maybe not necessarily visual and auditory learners, but they need to actually be able to read or have key takeaways or take notes while they're going through a video. Maybe it's something that I really encourage a lot of my community leaders to do, which is calling out the silent lurkers in your community platform. Giving them a post, a space where they can ask questions, where they're getting the individual attention. Oftentimes, you have these silent lurkers in your community that read posts, but they will never ask a question themselves because they feel like it's going to get lost in the feed, or, gosh, I'm interrupting something, or this isn't worth posting, or I'm going to feel stupid. But when we call them out, we give them permission and ask with a very special invitation for them to come and engage and post, they will often come out of the woodwork, and they're so grateful to feel seen when oftentimes they're just hanging out in the background. Maybe it's creating a subgroup or a breakout room on a live call for people in your community that have special life circumstances that make going through your program or interacting with your program or making progress with your program harder. One of my clients has a lot of subgroups, or well, they had way more. They had hundreds of subgroups that people had created. And we had to cull all of that down, which we did. But when we were creating subgroups, we asked ourselves the question of what unique aspects of a person's life impacts their ability to go through this program. So it's not like, oh, I live in Florida and you live in Tennessee, and that makes our experience in the program different. No, it doesn't. So that's not the need for a subgroup or a breakout, but it might be people who have different learning disabilities. It might be people who are in different stages of life, like they have young kids at home or they're an empty nester, So there are definitely life circumstances and life stages and surroundings that can impact somebody's ability to make progress through your program, or can even give them a unique conversation or challenge around the things that you typically discuss in your group. So how can we create a safe place for them, whether it's a breakout or a subgroup or a call? Like I know one of my clients does a call specifically for women of color that is separate. It's a coaching call that allows them to ask questions of a coach who is a woman of color, because the context in which they are entering into some of these coaching situations and business situations is a little bit different. And so they recognize that and create space for that. So my question for you and my lesson after my tear-filled morning of Parents' Day Out is, how can you uncover the unique needs of your community members, the individual, not the group? How can you uncover them, recognize them, let them know that they're seen, and then try to do something that accommodates them? You're not going to be able to accommodate everything, just like, at most events, unless it's a really small event. We can't accommodate every single food allergy. I understand that. But how can we do our best to accommodate as many people as possible? Yes, you're likely to help them make more progress. For sure, that is a result of accommodating people. But the real reward is in that internal light and warmth that radiates through a human being when you see them and you care enough to try. When you see another human and their unique needs and you care enough to even try to accommodate them, that is a feeling that people don't often forget. And I don't know about you, but after this experience this morning, I want to create that feeling for more people, whether it be friends in my real life that I know they have special needs or accommodations, and I can go out of my way to make sure that is taken care of for them, or whether it be for people in my community that I know are going through a hard time, that I can recognize and that I can reach out to, and that I can make feel like that one person in that moment that is cared about, that is loved, that is seen, that is recognized, that's special. That need to feel special never goes away. And sometimes we joke about how everybody in our community are special unicorns. They all feel like they have a unique situation. We kind of say, they really don't. They just need to follow the same path. But there is some truth to that. There is some truth to it, and there is something really special and something really life-giving to be able to give that feeling to somebody else. So, not my typical podcast episode, but really important all the same, and a lesson that I didn't want to let slip by without sharing it with you.